64.
Hey, fat fish heads. It's time for another edition of the hottest new podcast on all platforms, Fat Fish. Sit back and strap yourself in for the wildest ride on the open seas. Now, flap your fins for the fabulous Fat Fish brothers, Eric Fish Snyder and Brad Grunny Grunberg, a.k.a. Snacks.
Ha ha! I love snacks. 64. How do you feel?
64. I feel great. 64. What's your favorite snack? If you had a snack on something, what's your favorite? Like popcorn? You like cheese? Cheese whiz? What? Any Cheetos? What do you like to do?
Oh God, I like Pop-Tarts. I love Ding Dongs. I like potato chips. I went to that new sports bar, Jack's Studio City, next to Rocco's. It's so good. I've been there twice. Food is excellent. I had the wings, of course, pizza, and the cheese bread. Oh, the cheese bread. Oh, I love it so much. Do you like cheese bread?
Yeah, I love everything. The only thing I don't like, I don't like beets. I've never, I can't stand beets, and my rest in peace, my great grandmother and grandmother would torture me. You have to eat the beets, and I couldn't. I hate it. Everything else I love. Yes, I love cheese bread. I like garlic cheese bread. Garlic bread. What about you?
Garlic cheese. Yeah. The beets, that's a vegetable, and how is that supposed to be good for you? It's like purple, right? Aren't they? Is it like purple or something?
It tastes like chalk. I never liked it.
By the way, the one thing I do like, cloud water, baby. You have your cloud water?
Yeah. My cloud water, bear. Let me see if we get it in focus right there. I got today? Today I've got the blackberry, lemon, and rosemary. It is the best one they've made. I've had them all. This one, if I ever get a chance to make a drink at Chuck's Tavern, this is the one I'm going to mix. This would be perfect with rum or Tito's.
Oh, that's great. I have the passionate pineapple, peace, love, and energy. And I'm telling you, just to let you guys know something, you need to go to cloudwaterbrands.com, order yourself a case, find out where you can get it in your local town or country, or wherever you are listening to this or watching this. And please use our friends and family discount, FATFISH20. That's FATFISH20, cloudwaterbrands.com. It's so good. God, I wasn't even into this stuff. Now I am, big time.
Well, the good thing is it's the gut health and your immune system, and everyone needs to build their immune system. We just went through shit in 2020, and if you have a healthy immune system, it helps the rest of your body. And we are FatFish64. Check us out on everything. We're on right now. We're gonna be on Spotify soon, but we're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, we're on Roku, we're on DBD TV, and our listening outlets are podbean.com. Check out our snips of these shows that we're going to do. We're going to bring out our guests very soon on TikTok at Fish6134.
Oh, by the way, I was driving last night, and I was wearing my Fat Fish hat backwards, and this guy goes, "Fat Fish? What's that?" He goes, "I love podcasts." He wrote it down, then he looked it up on YouTube in the back seat, and he goes, "I will be listening to this. That looks fun." I go, "It's great. It's really great." I'm with my bro, Eric Fish Snyder, and we just have a great time. He asked me what it's about. I go, everything: food, sports, women, food. He's a great guy. This guy named Michael. We picked him up in Santa Monica at a restaurant, and then I brought him all the way back to Beverly Hills. So we had a long ride, and we had a nice talk.
That was a long ride. I mean, nowadays with traffic, what does that go? Because usually Santa Monica to Beverly Hills back when I was a kid was 15 minutes. What did it take you, about 45?
Oh, you hit it right on the nose, about 45, 50. And, it's just, and I know the back roads. I don't go by the GPS. I just go, like when I take people to the airport, they always go, "I never went this way." I go, Well, I bet there's a lot of ways you didn't go in your life.
Right.
That's Bill Murray line, by the way.
Well, not a
I'm
great
sure.
Bill Murray line. But beginning with Bill Murray, before we bring our guest on, I'll introduce him. I didn't realize that Bill Murray's son, Luke, is the assistant coach to Dan Hurley over at UConn, who's getting a lot of play right now because he might be the Lakers head coach. He's the top assistant coach in the nation. And you think of Bill Murray and you think of the John Candys. Would you think
Yeah,
that I never knew that Bill Murray's son was a top assistant college basketball coach. Did you know that, Grunny?
I did not know that, but
Wow.
you know why that's so good, because he blazed his own trail. He might be in the shadow of his dad, but now he's going to be
No.
a basketball coach. He is a
Yeah.
basketball coach. I like
Absolutely.
that. Yeah, that's the
Well, but
best.
yeah, again, you shout of your dad would be okay. Now my son's acting right now. A whole different ballgame. Coaching basketball and playing in stripes, as Bill Murray did, or Caddyshack, or all these great movies he did, is a whole different ballgame.
Yeah,
Speaking of ball games, we had a guy on about a month ago that I've done podcasts before, and it's been overwhelming in our emails to bring him back at a time when we have the finals in two major sports. So, without further ado, let's bring in John, the Hardline Hardison,
Artisan.
and
Ah,
and
what's amazing about John? He gets more handsome every time we see him. This guy is a face man. I'm telling you. John, before you met your beautiful wife, did you date a lot? Did you have a lot of girlfriends?
I did. It's always a smile. It's always the smile that gets them. That's what I use to lure them in. I bait it in and then I reel it in nice and slow.
I love it. You're a flosser, water pick. What do you do there? Keep them white. Some white. What do you do?
You gotta floss. You gotta water pick. You gotta make sure you brush it twice a day. Make sure you're getting in the back. That it starts all from the back to the front, baby.
It's so funny. I did I was going to do a TV show with Tom Sizemore, and we met a lot. And he always brought this briefcase with him. I go, Size, what's going on? You doing a drug deal? What's in there? Coke? He goes, Coke. He goes, bro, I floss. And he opened it up. All his shit is in there. The toothpick, the floss, the water pick, because I never know where I'm going to be. Always floss, always brush twice a day, never had a cavity. I go, come on. He goes, never had a cavity. Have you had a cavity?
I've had one my whole life, and I was like, never again. But you know what? You got to take care of those things, man, because once they're gone, they're gone. Look at Grandpa. Can never get it back. Might get a younger bride, but he can't get those teeth back.
He can go to the strip club and get a younger girl, a little side piece, but the teeth don't come back.
Teeth don't come back, baby.
I love it.
Hey, Hard, you and I talk off stage with bullshit about the playoffs, but right now we got the finals between Edmonton and the Florida Panthers in the National Hockey League Stanley Cup. But the big thing going on right now is the Dallas Mavericks and the Boston Celtics. And why did so many people at ESPN not listen to you? How did Stephen A. and Brian Windhorst pick Dallas in a sweep? Did they not know that Boston's only lost, once in the playoffs, I think? And let me ask you the question. Is Christian Porzingis, who's missed a lot of playoff games, is he the X factor in bringing Boston a championship if they win it?
I think he is. I think that's the biggest thing that they've got. They've been loaded for a while. I think anybody that's been watching Boston the last 3 or 4 years has to understand that they've been building for this moment. This isn't just a fly-by-night and they got a couple guys. When you look at this a couple years ago, about 3 years at this point, they were playing Golden State. And like any good team, they were young, inexperienced. They had a different head coach at that time. That they've changed, but they're more aggressive. They went out in the off, last season, got Drew Holiday. So you're talking about an NBA champion in him. Chris Daft is kind of on his last leg, and he knows that it's got to be now or never. And then you've got Brown and Tatum, who have grown up together in this league, and I think they're going to be dominant for quite some time. You look at that bench play, and the biggest thing for me, what I always tell everyone is, your stars will get you to the championship. Your bench wins it for you. And if you look at that bench where we're talking about, Derek White, Peyton Pritchard, Sam Hauser, they're more deep and they have more people that could keep you in the game than Dallas. Dallas is missing that third piece. Granted, they've got Kyrie and Luka, which is amazing, but even if you do basically, I'm going to let Luka get his, but somebody else has to step up, I think they're missing that.
Yeah. And also Holford. I mean, I'm going to tell you, that guy, how old is that guy? 60?
Oh,
He's
Big Al, yeah.
unbelievable.
Big Al's been in the league
Big
almost
Al.
20 plus years now.
I know. He brings it from 3 like nobody's business. I love him. I agree with Fish. I mean, it's Celtics. I think Celtics in 5 or 6 for sure.
I got
just don't
Celtics
think.
in 6. I just
Yeah.
think that I'll give Dallas 1 or 2 games, maybe home. Maybe they steal one on the road. But I just don't think overall they're completely built for this. I think they're an amazing team. I think that they're electric. I think that they did the right thing when they went out by the trade deadline and they made some moves to get Gafford and Washington to strengthen up that front court. But I just think that right now they just don't have it to match with Boston.
Yeah, I agree. And in the regular season, Boston beat them 4 in a row. So.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something. I just think Boston also what motivates them last year, what happened. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Denver
absolutely.
really was great, but Boston is stacked. They're young. They've got to do it this year. They don't want to be the Buffalo Bills of the NBA. Right?
Oh, absolutely no.
Well, they've won championships before. Yeah, I get it.
No, I'm just saying.
I know. Let's switch over to hockey. There hasn't been a team, Brad, that from Canada, plays in Canada, has won a Stanley Cup since I lived in Los Angeles, since after we did Johnny Cocktails, 92, 93, okay, when the Montreal Canadiens beat the LA Kings with Wayne Gretzky. The Edmonton Oilers are taking on the Florida Panthers, and I love what Rich Eisen said when he quote him. He goes, Florida Panthers and their 12 fans. I love Edmonton. I love the scoring. I have Edmonton in 6. What about you, Hardline?
It's funny you say that. I have Edmonton in 6. I think that this just gives me a lot of vibes similar to Sidney Crosby, coming from Detroit. The old adage is you got to go through Detroit to be the next superstar. And right now it's kind of it's a little bit different, but I think McDavid is that guy. He's the face of the NHL now. They need that star, and I think having him and being able to bring not only Canada, and if you've ever been to Edmonton, they bleed hockey. I mean, they bleed hockey like Texas bleeds football. Bringing that back across the border, that's huge for the NHL. It's huge for expanding their team, and it's huge for that market, a market that if you're young, you probably don't remember how dominant they were. But if you grew up in the 80s and 90s, I mean, Edmonton was always there.
Absolutely. Incredible team back then. And they, for many years, they weren't that good. Now they're really gelling, and they're, with David, they're on another level. I like that. I think Edmonton in 6, absolutely. Maybe even 5.
I mean, Brad, think about this. You like you said, you and Fish are from LA. You remember the trade of from Gretzky from the Edmonton Oilers to the LA Kings. But if you think about those teams back in the day, with Messier, Fuhrer, all those, you're talking about a team that have maybe 5 Hall of Fame players, 6. Yeah. I mean, that's rare, extremely rare to get that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Hockey, it's amazing that Fish, LA is a hockey town. I mean, they pack crypto. I'm just saying, I have a lot of friends with the jerseys and all that, Michigas, but hockey's a great sport. I don't even know how these guys, I guess when they're a baby, they're given before the rattle, they're given skates by their parents, right? They glide on this ice like I barely could walk that well. It's crazy. It's great. It's great. It's a great sport, and I love it.
It's hard because not only you have to skate, but then you have all those pads. You have a stick. It's so hard to get efficient in hockey. And you're right. Wayne Gretzky was skating at 4 years old. I got to ask you guys some breaking news this morning. It's pissing me off. Okay. Right now, you're seeing such a metamorphosis, and Brad and I have talked about this, even with you, Hardison, the last time we had you on. Caitlin Clark is blowing up. 20,000 people. She's bringing eyes to the WNBA, and if she gets hit by Kennedy, whatever, it's news. How the fuck do you leave her off the Olympic team? You should see the backlash going on. Especially when she said she wants to play. You're bringing 42-year-old Diana Taurasi on, who's, God bless her. But you know what the Olympic Committee's response was? You have to earn this. Guess what? She's the eyes of women's basketball right now. You want people to watch the Olympics. You can't. I saw some of the names on that, Hardison. You know them. They're all great
Yeah,
players. Aja Wilson deserves it. Kelsey Plum.
absolutely.
Brittany
Chelsea
Griner
Gray.
deserves it. I mean, come on.
You gotta put her on the team.
I'm hot about this because it's not women's basketball has always had a problem, Brad, with marketing itself. For 28 years, the league can't make any money. Now they're going to start making money, and you take the meat pie away. Guys, expound on what I'm saying.
Listen. Look at her. She's everything. She's not tatted up. She's a wholesome girl. She's unbelievable player. I saw her. I dropped somebody off at the Hotel Ritz downtown, and she walked right by my car. And she took a look at me. She goes, "God, I want that." All right, no.
Yeah.
But
she wants you to drive her.
No, she had security. It was unbelievable. And there were people right by the bus. They take the bus over to Crypto. They were waiting for her. All these young girls in her shirt, 22, the whole bit, the whole nine. Of course you put her on the team. There's no question about it. You put her 12th woman, right? I mean, get her on there. She will promote it like nobody's business, right? Right, John?
What do you think, Hard?
I think actually it made the right decision. I'm going to go the other way. You got to think about this. One, she's got to adjust to being in the league. And her first month in the league, it's been a little rough. It hasn't been. She's come in and just dominated everything. So it's going to take her time. You got to think. The WNBA is looking at this from a long play. This is her rookie year. We want to get her acclimated to our league because she's our star. We don't want to get her burnt out. And God forbid she goes over to Paris and gets injured. What if she tears an ACL or she hurts an ankle and she's down for the rest of the season or at least a couple months? We got the All-Star game in July. We only played 30 games in the season. I'm not trying to lose all the marketing revenue I could get out of her, even when we come back from that break for the Olympics, to get her coming. Will Indiana make the playoffs? I mean, I hope so for the WNBA, but also, as they say, when you're the top pick, you go to the shit team. So it's a little bit of a wait. I mean, it's a little bit of a ways, but with her and Leah Boston, I think that long play, it's a better move for the WNBA. I think for the short play, it's Olympic basketball. Now, maybe if you wanted to put her on the 3-on-3 team, maybe I could see that, but I just think there's too much money that's generated from her than what you're willing to lose. And I don't think they're going to take the chance on that.
So you
know what? I totally disagree with you. You're no longer good looking. You're pearly whites, and you need Tom Sizemore's fucking briefcase to get your shit back together. I think I love the fact that you disagree, but you're way on the one side on this whole thing. I've watched everything working Shucks last night. They're baffled. Stephen A. Smith is baffled. They just said, you know what? Aja Wilson could tear her ACL. She's a star player in the league. You got star players going over there. I don't get it. You need every eye on this. Let me tell you what's going to happen to the WNBA if she continues to stink. And Brad agrees with me. They play the bulk of their second half games in playoffs, right? When two things happen: college football and pro football. And this guy who has eyes on the WNBA, I'm not turning off Texas and Alabama in week 2 to watch the Fever and the Storm. I'm not. I don't think you guys are either.
So John, what you're saying, you bring her in for 2028 LA Olympics, right? She has 4 years under her belt, and you go from there. By the way, you guys, I was surprisingly at a gas station yesterday getting some snacks. Before I started driving, Magic Johnson and me right there pumping gas. Nicest guy. And I went up to him, I said, Magic, I don't know if you remember me, but when you and Isaiah had that little tiff and you beat Detroit, you guys made up the next night at the world famous Hollywood Tropicana. And he goes, oh my goodness. Yes, I remember that. I go, buddy. He goes, you still work there? I go, no, it closed, but I'm thinking about bringing it back. And if I do, Mr. Hardline, we got to get you out to LA for a little mud and oil wrestling. Okay, front row.
It would be my honor to be in the ring, to be the referee for that. You know what? I'll even be WWE dirty and throw some in somebody's face.
You don't deserve it. You don't deserve it because you're a rookie at this thing. You could tear an ACL going to that ring. We need you for this show. And let me tell you something, Brad. I got a bone to pick with you. I think, and I know Hardison, I think if Caitlin Clark got some tats on her, got a nipple ring, she had some of that swag going, an Estee Lauder makeover, she's not a bad looking girl. That would even bring her whole aura and her brand up more. Don't you think, Hardison? She's just too plain.
No.
I think they're trying to run it and see where it goes from there, man. I think that she's so different than most of the players that look-wise in the WNBA. They're capitalizing off of that. It's rare to find someone that's that good that does that.
Right.
So you mean a corn-fed Iowa girl is something that the WNBA really needs? I mean, I would love for her to walk on the court with a tattoo, okay, of Beyonce and Jay-Z and say, "Get your punk asses out of my face, bitches." I'd love to see that. I love it. Have you heard her trash talk? She curses, man. She's a trash talker. Don't kid yourself.
Hey, John, what did you think when the player gave her a little welcome to the WNBA? Put her on her ass. Yeah. How do you like that? I liked it.
I think it was welcome to the WNBA. You said it best. Look, everybody's got a moment. You can't, look, superstars get superstar calls. We all know that. But at the same time, this is part of the game. I'm not mad at it. Do I think that they should have gone back and upgraded to a flagrant one? Not necessarily, but I do think that, look, when you've got the target of the number one overall pick, they're going to mess with you. They're going to try and pull you down. They're going to try and give you a little extra hip check. Jordan went through it. Magic went through it. All the greats go through it. So why are we saying even Taurasi went through it? Schultz went through it. All these great players, and none of them were, ESPN is so upset that, somebody threw a little extra elbow in there and all this happened. And, we've got to protect her. Protect what? This is part of the game. And if you're worried about that, then Fish, you can't send her to the Olympics because those girls in Russia
I'm glad you brought that up.
Aren't going to play fair.
You're not going to go at it today. I don't have a problem. I agree with what you said. What I have a problem with, and Stephen A., I hate to give this guy some more props, but he's right. 7 flagrant, really bad fouls on this woman. Where are her teammates? In the NFL, if your quarterback gets late hit, your offensive line's knocking the shit out of the guy that did it, right? There's not one player on her team that's coming to defense, and that concerns me. Why?
So what I'll tell you this is, Fish, is you got to win over the locker room, right? Like that's the thing. You got to win over the locker room. You've got to prove to them, hey, I've got your back. And that might even mean if somebody else gets in the fight, you go in there and make a push. Now, again, you make your push and then you kind of back out, but you got to show, hey, it's not Caitlin Clark featuring the Indiana Fever. It's not Diana Ross and the Supremes. We are the Indiana Fever. And right now, everybody is telling them this is Diana Ross and the Supremes. It's Caitlin Clark and 4 other women.
Let me ask you this, both of you. I want transparency on this podcast. No woke culture. Okay, we all know what color Caitlin Clark is. Let me tell you something. If she's not in this league and she doesn't come into the league, is it the ratings and the standings and the fans have never been? It's feverish right now. No pun intended, Indiana. All right. If she's not playing in this league, is it as popular as it is right now?
I think it's still popular.
Absolutely.
Maybe.
I think
you really think the ratings, you think that all the eyes, think the 12, they've never had sold out arenas like they're having right now when she plays. Okay.
I mean, it's great, Fish, but I'll ask you this. For as great as she is right now, and even in college, and it's not taking anything away from them, did Iowa win it all?
No, you're right.
No.
No, they didn't. And you know what? Here's the problem I have because of what she is. There are so many trailblazers. You brought up Cheryl Swoops, and Lisa Leslie was fantastic, and Diana Taurasi was fantastic. Even Nancy Lieberman back in the day never got the kind of props this kid's getting. Okay, and this league is in its 28th year. It averages $200 million in revenue. All right, the NBA averages 10.9 billion. So when I start hearing, how do you get more eyes on this? Take advantage of it. Right? Take advantage of what you got right now. We're, because of our phones and everything, wouldn't you agree, Brad, that we're, not only are a voyeuristic society, we're really, really, what's the flavor of the month? And like I said, I don't care who you are. I know a lot of women that watch college football more than women's basketball. And when that happens.
Because of Taylor Swift. I mean, that, she brought a lot of girls to the NFL. In addition, I just think,
not Caitlin, college football.
She is, listen, Caitlin is, the new NBA star. People, let's see what happens. She's got to perform, and she's got to, it's always the second year I watch. You know what I'm saying? She's new to the game. She's new to the party. Let's see how she does. And people love the wholesome girl. They do. She has no tats, no earrings. I mean, that's important.
I love the tats. I love the tats. Give me some
Yeah,
tats. Give me some swag. Give me some swag, blah.
Do you
Give me
have
some
tats?
everything. Give me that bling. Give me the
Wait,
bling.
do you have tats, Fish? Do you have tats?
I could tell you. I got some hidden. I don't have it on me, on my arms and stuff like that. Yeah. Why don't you don't have any tattoos?
Yeah, I got
What, In-N-Out burger?
I have a big burger on my ass.
Yeah,
That's what
exactly.
I got.
Yeah. Let's go to professional here. Let me ask you this, John, and I want your opinion. You too, Brad. Do you think if the Indiana Fever, God forbid, stink for the next 3 years and she's a part of it, that'll hurt her brand?
John, you first.
Yeah, it will, because they're hyping her up to be this person that could take him to the next level and take him over the hump and do all these miraculous things. And look, if they stink again, they might get to another number one overall pick, depending on how the system goes. I think that will hurt it, but I also think that the reality is, and let's just be honest about it, she's playing in Indiana. Unless you're Larry Bird, it's hard to keep anybody in Indiana or want to even come back to Indiana. I think at this point, if you could keep her for 3 years and try to make some progress, sure, but she's probably going to get shipped out either way. She's probably going to end up going to one of their big markets, either Seattle, maybe Las Vegas, if they can go ahead and swing it. LA definitely needs the help because they haven't been as good as they once were. And another team to maybe think about, depending on how they move the cap situation, might be New York. New York made the championship last year. They've got a lot of great players in Sabrina Ionescu and Stewart, and they're still making moves. It couldn't hurt, but keeping her in Indiana isn't a big enough market, Fish. You and I both know to make it work. Hell, there's only one man that came from French Lick, and the only reason we know French Lick is because he went to Boston.
Yeah, but you know what? Indianapolis is a huge sports city as far as the 500. The Colts sell out. The Indiana is the key, is absolute keystone for college basketball. It really is. I mean, you think about Hoosiers, you think about Bobby Knight. I agree with you, but could you imagine Bradley Grunberg, Grunny Snacks, if Caitlin Clark played in the LA? That would be, imagine, oh my God, the opportunity she'd have endorsement-wise. She has them already.
I'm with John. I just think that, first of all, there's no iron team. They got to surround her with some players, right? I mean, Jordan had, look at his crew. I mean, you just can't do it yourself. And, she's great. But again, John's right. You give her a year or two, and even the legal step in and go, we got to get her to a bigger market. We got to get her over here. It'll help us all if we, move her. So we'll see what happens. But she's great. She's just great. And by the way, when she got hit and she was put on her ass, they asked about it the next day or that day in the post show, and she said, "I'm fine with it. That's we're out there competing. That's all right. I got up. You know what I'm saying? I still that everybody oh my God, she was touched. Oh my God, she she was in the paint and somebody threw a bow."
You know what's sad about this? I follow college women's basketball almost religiously sometimes. I think Angel Reese is a better player all around, and that's going to help. That magic Larry Bird thing we brought up in the '80s, that competitive thing between those two that came out at the same time, that could really add to the league. I want to switch gears a little bit, Brad, and I want Brad's opinion upon this. We just saw Jelani Porter from the I'm getting his name wrong, from the Toronto Raptors get a lifetime ban. Then we just saw this kid from the Padres, Marcopio, get a lifetime ban. You're in the betting business. The Game of Winning podcast with John Hardline Hardison on Amazon and Spotify. How concerned are both of you that we're seeing a lot of people getting lifetime bans right now for betting on themselves and their teams? And do you think, one, guys, this is the tip of the iceberg, or this has been going on for the longest time, and now they're really cracking down?
I think that it's been going on for a while. I think that either people have been placing bets under other people, which again is an issue, or because it wasn't legalized everywhere, they went to Uncle Sal's Pizzeria and made a bet instead for on something else to kind of go on. I do think that's a bit concerning. One thing that I think that's interesting is Porter I think he's going through rehabilitation right now where he's saying, I have a gambling addiction, I have a problem. There's a lot of issues surrounding this right now. Now, I'm not saying that, I'm not sympathetic to people that have gambling addictions. There's so many different types of addictions, and I wish them the best. But I also think the NFL, NBA, the majors need to have a better protocol of explaining what does count and what doesn't count and what you can and can't bet on. Because we look at the NFL last year and Jameson Williams from my Detroit Lions, he took the 6-game ban, and I was like, why did you just take it? Why didn't you fight it? Look, 2 weeks later, if you're caught betting, if you're caught doing this, it's done for the rest of the season. He didn't even bet on football. He's like, I bet on a different sport. I thought I couldn't just bet on football being in the facility. Well, no, you can't bet on anything while you're on the grounds of this facility. So now I think there's just a lot of misconceptions. I think there's a lot of misinformation that needs to be, driven home, especially during rookie symposiums and even during the beginning of preseason, that we go from there and try to figure this out. But it's not going to end. I can tell you this. There's too much money. There's too many states expanding with these online sports books. This isn't going to end. And unless the only way I see this really having to be put on its head is if somebody who's the face of one of these major sports ends up getting caught. That's the only way.
Like a Pete Rose, like something like that.
Even if like a LeBron, or we're talking about, a Sidney Crosby, somebody that's to that stature where you're like, all right, we've got a real big issue right now. Even
Shohei Ohtani. Boy, yeah, he's not guilty.
Yeah. You guys got to understand something. These guys got so much time on their hands. They got downtime, and their buddies say, hey, man, did you hear anything about the Knicks and blah, blah, blah. And let's throw some cash on. And then their handlers, they make the bets. Listen, you can't have your cake and eat it too. That's why they legalized it, man. They want the taxes. Why did they legalize pot? They want the money. Follow the money trail. But, John's right. There's going to be so many more people that are going to be caught. And what do? You can't bet on your sport. You can't bet on this. What do? You bet on, tiddlywinks. I mean, it's sad. It's sad. It's going to happen. And I would love that guy to fight it. He took the 6-game suspension. I didn't like that either, John.
Yeah,
you got to stand up. You got to stand up. So
hey,
we'll see what happens. Gambling's here to stay, and it's just going to get bigger and bigger. Look at ESPN. Now they have a ESPN bet. Oh my God.
Yeah.
With what's her name, Erin Dolan doing the commercial for it. Oh my God, she's so hot.
Oh my God.
What is it? You go on ESPN too, and they got the betting show as well on there. Sure. They go through all day and just sit there. Oh, I like this line. Oh, if you look at this, 20 years ago. Oh, you can't do that. It's immoral. Blah blah blah. Yeah, it's immoral until somebody gets a piece of the cake.
Absolutely right. First, pot. By the way, guys. First, it was alcohol, right? Now it's marijuana. Now it's sports. Next is prostitution. Guaranteed. Down the line, they're going to regulate it. Thank God.
You can bet on it.
You can. Yeah, you can bet how many.
We've already bet. How many hookers does Brad do? I think he went over 50.
How many brothels I'm going to go to in LA?
Brothels, shit.
Of course, it's for research purposes only. Come on, for my movie, I'm going to write.
Your movie going to write. He has an app about all the new brothels that are opening up in the United States. It's going to hit Canada pretty soon, folks. Look at that face. Look at that grunny. That's your snack. That's your brothel. Hey, we're 60 games into the baseball season, Hardline. I know you love your Tigers. If you had a handicap, and this is probably easy for you. I'll go first. If you had a handicap, who's going to be in the ALCS and the NLCS? I'm going obviously Dodgers and Phillies. I'm going to go Yankees. And I don't know why, I don't know why I think the Texas Rangers are going to find a way to get back. What do you think?
I think the Rangers have a good shot of getting back. The Yankees, the Yankees trouble me. I love the Yankees. The problem is we get past the Midsummer Classic, and usually the house starts to slowly burn, and something happens where either Stanton gets injured or, it just seems it falls apart. And I don't know what it is the last couple of years that it makes me a little bit worried about them being able to get over that hump. Do I want to see the Yankees get into it? Absolutely. I think it's great for the league. I don't think there's ever been a time when the Yankees end up going to the World Series that ratings are down, and I think that they need them right now. I like the Rangers. I just can't ever count out the Astros. They're just that type of team that no matter what's going on, they get past the Midsummer Classic and they turn it on. And I don't know if it's just because they've been going for a long period of time, but that's one of the teams. I go probably Yankees, Astros.
I want the Yankees in there. Exactly. Yankees, Dodgers. It could be amazing. Do you like, let me ask you this, John. Do you like Dave Roberts? What do you think about it? I like Dave Roberts as a person. What about as a coach?
Here's the thing, because I know there's a bunch of people. This is my issue with LA fans in general.
Hey, now.
They're very finicky. They don't believe in really building a lot of things. Everything is I could buy my way to something, and as long as the regular season goes well, like we're going to win it all. I don't think Dave Roberts is a bad manager. I don't think that you get to that many World Series and not be a good skipper. What I will say is I think that they try to chase 100+ wins every season too much. And I think you're better suited with saying, if we were to rest some guys and maybe win 98, maybe we can get all the way through. Versus chasing 100. Now guys got injuries that we didn't really give time to rest. Here comes the playoffs and we're burnt out. And I see it every year that they just get burnt out. I don't know if it's the analytics that they harp on so much in LA instead of actually going to old school managing where there's just, I know my guys, I know this game, I've been around it my whole life. This is what we're going to do to the top brass and have top brass buy in. Or are they just so like, this is the analytics, this is what it says, this is, all the things that it goes from there. I don't think that he's a bad manager. I just think they got to stop trying to chase 100.
And also, don't listen to these guys upstairs. You're a manager. Go with your gut. Go with your gut. And I'm telling you, that's why you have a bench, right? That's why you have guys waiting who are, they could be starting on another team, but you got them on your team. Use them, right? Rest a couple guys, 1 game, 2 games, so they're ready for the playoffs, and they're, and hopefully they'll, be in the World Series. I would love to see the Yankees Dodgers. That would be unbelievable. Bring back great memories of me and Fish and you, of just great stuff. But you know what? You never know. Like you said, a team could, slip in there, and all of a sudden, back to the drawing board for next season.
God, how bad are the White Sox this season? They're just. Oh my gosh! What were they?
They need Caitlin Clark. They need Caitlin Clark. They can play on that team and do well. I got an interesting comment to make. For me and Brad growing up, Bill Walton was a hero to us. We grew up in the time we watched him play, and the Celtics did a great tribute to him before Game 1. Isn't it amazing that he's the biggest proponent and fan of the Pac-10, Pac-12 conference, and he watched every game in every sport. And the day after Arizona State played USC in the Pac-12 championship, he passes away. Where I'm going with you hardest things, we're big college football fans. It just doesn't seem right that USC, Brad, and UCLA are in Ohio State and Michigan's conference, and Arizona, your team that you graduated from, the Great Wildcats, and Arizona State are in the Big 12. How do you feel about all these teams changing conferences, Hardison?
You know what? This was been a long time coming. We all kind of knew like it was going to eventually boil down to the Power 5, and the problem is, well, now kind of Power 4, and that look, it's TV ratings, and reach, and as far as you could get in terms of recruiting, and this was eventually going to happen. Just to piggyback off of Bill Walton, I think that we lost an amazing player. I know that they tie him to Boston, but when I think of Walton, I think of Blazers because of just how dominant he was with the Portland Trail Blazers, how dominant he was being one of the Wizards of Westwood at UCLA. And I think that because of, a lot of people didn't necessarily see him, but just how dominant that team was, that program was for that long stretch of time. And then I also think about him because we tend to forget him being really the original Clipper. You know, the Clippers really kind of wouldn't exist without Walton being one of the first guys to really say, I want to go back home to San Diego and kind of play. Am I surprised that UCLA and them did it? No, especially with the TV rights and the contracts and where they go. I mean, there's a reason why you look at the Big Ten and they signed that very lucrative deal with NBC. You know, they want to stretch. They want to be able to get guys from California that want to come to commit to playing. And one thing that was always said was they couldn't get California recruits to really come to the Big Ten because they were like, well, my parents would never see me, or, you know, this wouldn't make any sense. Now you may have 1 or 2 games each season. You're going back home, and now the whole family can see you. Everybody can see you. Now you could go to a dominant program in terms of football. You know, Fish, we love USC in California, but UCLA is not the best football team, right? Let's just be honest. They're not the best, and you kind of go up and you have Stanford and you have Cal, and it's okay, but they don't have the names in terms of Michigan, Ohio State. You know, though that brand speaks for itself. You could be a subpar player there and still go be a second-round pick.
Right.
True.
It's all about, follow the money trail. Back to Bill Walton, he was a real character, right? He went off on tangents about cactuses and the Grateful Dead. But remember one thing, he played for the Boston Celtics. And at the end of his career, he was instrumental in winning that ring. He came off the bench. He was something very special. And
86.
May he rest in peace. We're going to miss you, Bill. You're incredible. Even though I'm like, oh, another one of these stories. I mean, you're like, can you stay in the game, Bill? But he was really, really a real. I heard a pretty good guy. A real good guy. Matter of fact. So.
You guys loved him in LA so much you let his son coach the Lakers.
Let his son coach the Lakers. Luke, I forgot about that.
By the
guess
way,
who this is? Hey, Grunny, that's John Hardison of the Game of Winning podcast on Spotify and Amazon. But we are Fat Fish. This is show number 64. Catch us on YouTube. Catch us on Roku. Catch us on DBTV. Catch us on Facebook, Podbean for our listening outlets, and TikTok at Fish6134. Thanks to Johnny Cocktails Entertainment. Wingman. Go get him, Johnny Cocktails.
Hey, I got a question for you guys. Let's go around the horn here. Who's the next Laker coach?
JJ Redick, because they just can't seem to get shit right.
Yeah. I you don't think Dan the man is going to step away from Connecticut and start, because he did say this. I want to retire when I'm 60. I want to coach high school basketball like my dad, and that's it. And I think that's great. His dad is a legend. In Jersey.
Absolutely.
And I just think that if he has that plan, is the Lakers in that equation? Fish?
How much influence does LeBron James have on Jeannie Buss and her new husband, your buddy, Jay Moore? Because the Lake, here's the problem I have, and I got to get. I'm glad you brought this up. LeBron is dead set on playing with this kid, and Bronny James. He only get 2 rounds in the NBA draft, and Bronny James is not a second-round pick. He's like the top 100. Okay. I think that could hold up some of the coaches. Lakers have a lot of holes, and the West is talented. So Hardison, I think you might be right. It might not be if Hurley or Redick go in there and say, "Look, I want control of the draft." It can't be LeBron James at 40 years old. That could stop a coach. Do you agree?
Absolutely. I think that's part of it. Look, I'm trying to come around on the Bronny James train, but he didn't show me enough in college. There's still a lot of questions. I think that he's a bit of a project that, I don't think that you can necessarily move him to a G League for a short period of time to make sure he gets his legs under him. It's kind of a situation of the Lakers don't have draft picks either. I mean, they gave them all up, so their draft compensation is essentially shot. This is a very tricky situation. If I'm Dan Hurley, what do I get out of this? Yeah, I could coach the Lakers. But if 2 years go by and we don't win a championship, as you saw with Darvin Ham, a guy that took him to a Western Conference Finals and got knocked out the next year and they fired him, is it worth giving up everything that you've built at UConn where you're sitting on 2 national championships? And for anybody that's a big college basketball fan, it's hard to get one. Yeah. When you're talking about college coaches that have 2 or more, that list is very, very small. You're going to be a legend. what do you gain from going to LA?
Yeah.
Other
What's
than
the
more money?
upside? But the cash. Yeah. But the cash. I mean, listen, Bronny, what is he? A 3? He's not a point guard. What is he? And he's a great player. He's a good player, but what would he play in the NBA? He's too small, right? I mean, he wants to play with his dad, and his dad wants to play with him. But
And that's great. Who doesn't? And it's a great story. But should the Lakers mortgage their future, Brad? I'm a Lakers fan. You're not. You're a Golden State fan. There's a lot of holes in that team. And like I said, Hardison's the biggest. You two, we're lucky on this podcast. I got two of the most knowledgeable NBA fans you could ever have on a podcast. And the West is loaded. Dallas is not going anywhere. Denver's not going anywhere. Phoenix is good. OKC is good. Golden State, your team's going to come back. I mean, I'm just, as a Laker fan, there's holes there. And he made a great point. Darvin Ham, I thought, was a good coach, and it's a tough situation. How about this? Two quick things. Did you see all the guys in the portal that are coming to Connecticut? They're the number one recruiting class. He's going to blow that up if he leaves. He's going to lose all it. He's going to blow the program up. And number two, I can't think, Brad, you might know, I can't think of a college basketball coach that was very successful in the pros. Obviously, had Jimmy Johnson and Barry Switzer in the NFL, and John Robinson, and had some success. But can you name one coach? Hardline. I mean, Pitino was horrible in the pros, and I can't think of anybody else. George didn't John Thompson coach in the pros and he stunk?
Yeah, that didn't work out well. If I have to find a coach, the only one I could think of in recent memory that was decent was Billy Donovan in Oklahoma City, but that didn't end up in long-term success in terms of winning it all.
Yeah,
none that I can really think of. None that really crashed that ceiling. Not off the top of the head.
Here's the question: you guys are both NBA aficionados. Here's the question I have for both of you. Brad, you first. Is Dan Hurley the missing piece to make the Lakers a championship team?
I don't know. It's kind of like, I'm going to give you an analogy. It's like, if you're a writer, TV writer, you don't have to be the best writer. You just got to get along with everybody in the room. Okay. What happens is with this, these guys make so much money. It's different than college. These guys are pros. They're making millions and trillions and all this money. You got the respect of the coach, but can he control his players? That's the whole thing. Steve Kerr is an amazing guy. How he blends all those, over the years, 4 championships, blends those guys together. They all have their part. Steph, KT, the list goes on and on. I just think it's how Dan would get along with everybody in the room. I say he doesn't take the job. That's me. To go for a 3-peat in college, what do you think? And I think he goes to his dad and his brother and he goes, what do I do? But I don't think he goes to the NBA now. Maybe later, but I think he's going to go try for the 3-peat. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I say you stay, you build it out. At this point, again, you're outside your dad, like you're the better Hurley overall in terms of coaching and what you've been able to produce. Look, your brother won 2 as the player, but struggled with the rest of it. You've won 2 as a coach. I think that there's no incentive, like you said, to go to LA. I think right now you run it out. They're gonna pay him. They're gonna have to pay him, in my opinion. At some point, he's got to have to make more than Calipari because he's got an extra championship. The only other person that you can make the argument that maybe he gets a little less than is Self, but Self never went back to back. So at this point, if I'm Dan Hurley, I'm staying at UConn. I've got UConn essentially by the balls to tell them, you're not going to get another head coach that's better than me. What do you want to do? You want to lose me and go through the rebuild, and wherever I go, I take my guys with me? Or do you want to play and give me what I deserve, what I feel like I'm entitled to, and go from there?
Well, let me ask you this, Brad. The elephant in the room, and John, just chime in, is that you have to work with LeBron James, and it's intimidating. There's been talk that he walks in and says, I'm doing this. And for a first-year coach to have a legend like that has that much influence in that locker room, Brad's right. How do you get that locker room? I think you need another NBA guy to coach that team.
Yeah, it's going to be like you said, JJ Redick. I just think, LeBron, he's at the end of his career. He wants to play with his son, but that's all nice. But it's all about, wins and losses. Can the Lakers win another championship with the present team? I don't think so. What do you think, John?
No,
they
not
have
with the
some great
roster that they
players
have
to root
constructed
for.
right now. Absolutely not. You're going to have to get rid of Torian Prince. You're going to have to get rid of a couple other pieces, but then you've got to find people that either do a veterans minimum to come in to try and win, or you're going to have to sell one of those assets. At some point, either Davis or James is going to have to go. One of them's going to have to go and see if you can get some draft compensation for them, or you can free up cap room. There's a pro and con to both of them, but it's a hard sell to try and get that away. I just think right now they've got probably another 2-3 years of being in the shitter. And then from there, it will go up from there because now they've got some of those draft picks back, and then they've got some more compensation. Now, if you're an LA fan and you know the market, you guys don't do well with patience. Patience is not,
Oh yeah,
not
that's
one of those
true.
people LA do very well with. So,
And
best of luck.
LeBron's 40. An injury could happen, and listen, LeBron doesn't want to go out like Jordan. He went to the Wizards, blew his knee out. I like these guys going out on top. LeBron is amazing. He's great in the community and all that good stuff. He really wants to play with his son, but how is that going to work? I mean, right? We're going to see him on the court together, right? They might have one great game, but again, you just have to go back to the talent. LeBron is amazing that at his age, he still plays at that high level. That's right. To me, he's an enigma. He is unbelievable. I watch what he does. I'm like, this guy's 40 fucking years old. He's kind of like you, Fish. I can't believe at your age, you're behind that bar. Oh, sorry. No, hey, John, let me ask you this. When you met this guy, were you like, what the, who is this? Who is this guy behind the bar? Isn't he the best in the business? I think he is
top notch.
He really is. Now,
stop. Stop. Hey,
no, being a bartender is all about personality. All right. You don't have one. But
we have the Raider. I got it. He's got to go. He's got another commitment on a podcast. I got to ask him one last question. We have people in the Raider organization watching this podcast. All right. So be nice. Over and under on the futures Raiders. This year. Not you, Hardison. Over and under 7.5 wins this season.
I'll take the over. I think that they get over 7.5. I think that they're good enough to get over it. I think they may go 9-8. Maybe they sneak it to the playoffs, but I still think they're better than Denver. I'm still not sold on what San Diego, LA is doing. What the hell? They're still San Diego in my mind. What they're doing. I think they got a good shot. I think that they've got some good pieces that they went in. I like the tight end draft picks that they've gotten. The biggest thing is, what does Gardner Minshew do? I think if you could get a solid play out of Gardner Minshew, you got a shot.
I agree.
John Hardison of the Game of Winning podcast. We're going to have you on many times as we approach the training camp in 5 or 6 weeks. And you refresh our memory. You took Dallas. You're taking the Celtics in 6.
Celtics 6.
And Edmonton also.
Edmonton 6.
5 or 6. I mean, Sunday's game will tell a tale. If they blow them out, going back to Dallas will not mean not much. It's going to be tough. They're kicking on all cylinders. Celtics. They want it bad, and they want to set the precedent and say, listen, last year was last year. This year is this year. We're going to hang banner number 18. By the way, John, I want to party with you, sir. You and me, forget about it. What movie?
Forget about it?
Goodfellas. No. It
Goodfellas.
No, wrong.
Goodfellas.
Got Stripes when he goes, Lee Harvey, you're a madman. You and me. I want to party with you, boy. You and me, forget it. I do want to party with you, John. Thanks for being on the show, buddy. We love you.
Hey, you guys, thanks for having me. Always a pleasure.
Yes. Oh, thank you, buddy. Talk to you soon. Love you, man. Got a fried shrimp basket waiting for come on, get your ass in there.
I'll be back up in a couple weeks, so I'll see you then.
We'll get Brad up too. Later.
All right.
Later.
Take care, John.
Wow.
He's a great guy.
He's so intelligent, and he's got, he went at it. I was shocked. Caitlin Clark not on the Olympic team. I think it's stupid, but
Right?
that's what makes this
I'm with
podcast
you. I
great. Is
think
you
it's
have different opinions.
I listen. I think it's stupid because just put her on the team. Okay,
Thank you.
you don't. She might not be in the starting five, but let her come off the bench,
Yeah.
show that she could play Olympic ball. Right, the whole bit.
I got some memes real quick, and I got to check this out. I know you love Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Oh, she's one of my favorite. Oh. Oh my God, that looks like a
She said she's
caveman.
got balls, so we're going to give her balls in the stomach, and
God,
that's your kind of girl, Brad. Look at she's got the man boobs. She's got the little girth.
No, but she looks like Spicoli. She looks like Jeff Spicoli.
Not a bad looking woman. Okay, here's two more that reminded me of you.
Not my type.
No, you talk about personality, my personality. The great thing about you is you make fun of yourself. I thought about you both times here. Okay, this is great. This is you as a kid. It was at that moment that little Brad forgot about his PS4, and it's a guy in a swimming pool, a public swimming pool. He comes up from underwater, and there's an arse in his face with a thong. You know?
My God, look at his face. He's like,
"That's you."
That's a pie, man. That's a real nice pie.
That's great. I love it.
Jesus.
Right.
What's going through his mind? And where is he today, Joey, little Joe?
Well, where is he today? Now, this happened to Brad at Santa Monica Beach, and it's embarrassing, but it's not. Look how lucky this fucker is because he's so popular driving a Lyft and 120 things he's done in Hollywood. This happened to Brad. I'm no doctor, but if anyone here is going to save Brad's life, it's the girl on the right.
Oh my God!
He was like, you were like in the what was the movie The Sandlot when the kids faked that he was drowning? So you got two girls. There's a girl giving a guy mouth to mouth, and there's a girl on the right. We can't see where her mouth is, but we think that's going to save his life more than the mouth to mouth. Is it great for people on? You have to Podbean, get to our videos to see that. It's a great meme. It's Brad twice. Both in water.
What is the one on the right giving him some kepi? What's going on?
You can't tell. I don't know. She ain't blowing. I guarantee you, she's not blowing up that floating device next to him.
Oh, I love it. I want to be a lifeguard.
Hey, what do you know about? We have a mutual friend on there. Her name is Julie on Facebook, and the kid is always smiling. And I thought I met her at Mom's Saloon. Yeah. It's all about smiles this week at me. It's it's about being happy. Yeah. And I think she went to high school with you, but the kid is always smiling. It's not a kid.
She went to Beverly. Her name is Julie Dobkin, one of the greats. And she's so sweet. She went to University of Arizona with me.
Right.
She
always smiling.
I went to university. That's the poor man's Beverly High School.
You know what I found out? What? One of my first girlfriends, Stacy, she's best friends, Julie, with her sister. So 6 degrees of separation. Oh, thanks for always smiling, Julie. You're a fan of the show. And Brad appreciates it. I appreciate it. But your smile's contagious, and it means a lot to us.
Yes, we love it. Julie is the best. She always smiles no matter what is going on in her life. She's a special person.
Yeah, good. Well, hey, talk about the philanthropies. The Nick Pasquale Foundation. We're going to be at the golf tournament October 11th in San Clemente. Helps kids get scholarships. All right. Keith is fighting hard right now in the battle of his life. With the C word. We love you, Keith.
Every day. Please, Keith, we need you. You're an amazing guy. God bless you.
Give a shot.
Molly's Challenge. My friend Andrew Klein and his beautiful wife Stacy lost their daughter to bullying last year. She was only 13 years old. And that's one of our causes. We've got to stop bullying. We've got to stop this fucking bullshit. These kids, everybody is so just anybody's vulnerable, everybody wants to be popular, but jealousy is a disease. Everybody, listen to me. I just gone through it, and I got rid of some people I should have got rid of a long time ago. It's okay. And, some people, they live by their phone. It's their phone. That's the whole thing. Their life, they're liking on Facebook right away, seconds. Put down the phone, okay? And let's all get along, okay? I don't care what you look like. I don't care what you do. Listen, love is love. I live by two things now, positivity and love. And I love you, buddy. 64 in the books. We want to thank John Hardline Hardison for being on the show. And again, my wingman, my sidekick, Eric Fish Schneider, I love you. I'm Brad Grunberg, AK Snacks. We'll see you next time on Fat Fish Podcast. Dave Linden,
You've been listening to the Fat Fish Podcast, heard on all your favorite platforms. Until next time.
Manny, I love you. That is